What is going on, Locks Mob, and welcome back to the Locks DFS NHL Breakdown. I am your host, Narang. I'll be breaking down this 4-game main slate on DraftKings and FanDuel for Sunday, February 17th. Before I do that, though, if you guys want to check out my Twitter real quick, give me a follow. You can do so right here at ReallyAddy. Help you keep up to date with all my stuff, whether I'm tweeting out about sports bets, hockey, basketball, etc. I'd like to think of myself as a good follow, so you could go ahead and do that if you so choose. But yeah, let's get into this slate. So it's honestly a pretty tough slate. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The last 4-game slate we had, I was a big fan of it. I'm a fan of this slate as well. But the other one had a few more clear-cut favorites. This one, these first 3 games right here are essentially pick'ems. If we see in Vegas, we have, as you all can see, these games are teams projected 3.1, Buffalo for 3.1 goals, New Jersey for 3, Philly for 3.1, Detroit for 3. Both of those essentially pick'ems at -114 and -115. And then you got Montreal and Florida. Florida opening up at -131, Cincy at -129. Trending towards a pick'em, but it won't be. But as far as hockey games go, these 3 games are pick'ems. You can't really have a clear stance on who's gonna win. Based off of the information we have right now. And then the last game, we got the Capitals in Anaheim. Capitals opening up at -187. Obviously, the biggest favorite on the night. 31% of bets on Anaheim has dropped the Capitals from -187 to -180. Shows a little bit of sharp money coming in on Anaheim, which I do get because Anaheim is healthier. And Washington is really bad defensively. So I do see some of that RLM coming in, and I could see it getting stronger as the day goes on, since it is only 11:30 in the morning right now. But with all that being said, let's jump into it, because I just want to talk about a few of my favorite plays at each position, at respective price points, and we'll go from there. So as far as the high price range of centers go, we'll cut it from Giroux and up. So Barkov will be in the mid-price range. So out of these 5 guys, I think the fact that Giroux is the cheapest kind of has to make him the best point per dollar option, just because he probably shouldn't be the cheapest. He's got one of the higher iCourse 4 per 60s on Philly, although a lot of those Philly players shoot the puck at a similar rate. Giroux, Couturier, Voracek, James Van Riemsdyk, Lindblom all have iCourse 4 within 10.9 to 12.5 or 13. So all fairly similar. But regardless, with that being said, I really like this Philly one line for Giroux, Konechny, and JVR. Detroit, 3rd worst team on the slate as far as expected goals against per 60 goes at 2.53, and they have the 7th worst penalty kill in the league as well at 77.7%. So definitely something you want to take advantage of with some 5v5 and 5v4 for some of these flyers. But on the flip side of that, I really like Dylan Larkin as well. He's the guy that's probably going to give you some of the most secure minutes on the slate. I can see him skating easily 23, 24 minutes in this matchup, which is McDavid-esque for forwards. And he's got a tough matchup at 5v5 versus a Philly team that ranks 2nd best on the slate in 5v5 defense. However, they are susceptible to giving up a few goals on the road as well, and their penalty kill is dreadful. It's 4th worst in the NHL, even worse than Detroit's. So you do want to take advantage of some of these Detroit players, mainly at 5v4, but a little bit at 5v5 as well. And that starts with Dylan Larkin for me. He's kind of the guy that's tasked with driving this entire offense. As you can see, it's not a one-line team, but it's fairly close. I like Mantha. I like Anthony Ciu, of course, but it is a fairly one-line team. Larkin is the backbone of this team offensively. Asked to do a lot. And the net front present on the first team power play. So big fan of getting exposure to Larkin. Big fan of getting exposure to Giroux. I think this is a game that could certainly hit the over. Last time these 2 teams played, it was a 6-5 game. And that was just a couple days ago. So could definitely see that happening again. A little bit cheaper, I do want to mention Vincent Trocheck is a good play. He's just still a bit underpriced. He's got an iCourse 4 per 60 of a bit over 14, which is really great for 5.3K. Florida projected for 3.2 goals in a decent matchup versus a Canadian team that's just sort of middle of the pack in everything. So not a bad play here, and probably probably the cheap guy that I would try and go to, because any lower is not that pretty, in my opinion. So moving on to wing, far and away the top option at wing, Alex Ovechkin, and on a slate devoid of really like locked in high price options, like no Brent Burns, none of those guys. I just think you lock in Ovi. I mean, they are the biggest favorites, and Anaheim is technically the worst team in the league expected goals against per 60 wise, although Washington themselves are very close behind. This is a spot where I think that game could be fairly high scoring. I think Anaheim scores a few goals, and I think Washington does as well. Anaheim as well, they are not great on the kill, 18th in the league. Any team that's in the bottom half in the league on the penalty kill going up against Ovechkin is a threat to give up multiple goals to Ovi from the Ovi spot, as we all know. So I think I'm trying to do everything I can to play the highest ceiling player on the slate, which would be Ovechkin. Scrolling down a bit farther, though, one thing I did want to talk about, I'm a big fan of a lot of these plays. JVR, Dadonov is cheap, but Palmieri is cheap. But what I really want to talk about is these two guys right here. I have Anaheim wingers written down, which is Corey Perry and Rickard Rakell. Both of them are just too cheap at 4.6K and 4.8K. Hopefully this loads for me so I can show you guys. Let's see if this will load. Yeah, I think it will. I want to show you guys Anaheim in respect to their iCourse 4 per 60 as well as their individual shot percentages, just to show you that they are getting a bit unlucky. But if we filter this by ICF per 60 and we look at this, we see Corey Perry been back for about 6 games, 7 games, 8 games or so. Shooting the puck a lot, iCourse 4 per 60 of 16.4. That's second on the team, but an individual shooting percentage of 0. That's got to regress positively because wingers typically will fall in that 9 to 10% range. Rickard Rakell similarly 14.63 iCourse 4 per 60, but an individual shooting percentage of 4.55. So just some bad puck luck for this first line. They're in a great matchup versus Washington, and they're far too cheap. I think they will go fairly under-owned because people will go towards these Philly options right a little bit more. But I think for the price, especially on DraftKings, on FanDuel, Rakell is 5.5, which is also really cheap, as is Corey Perry, 4.4. So I really like both these guys on both these sites. I think I would play them in cash, not just GPPs, but I think a lot of people are going to view them as. And then scrolling down a bit farther, one value play I wanted to give you guys was Miles Wood. He was injured for a couple games, but he returned last game. The thing on him is he actually leads New Jersey in iCourse 4 per 60. He is the highest rate shooter on this Jersey team at 17.92. He as well struggling with a little bit of bad puck luck with the individual shooting percentage under 4%. Skating on this second line, which I actually like a lot, with Zajac and Palmieri. Big fan of this line. I think this first line is nice too. Jesper Bratt is fairly cheap, and so is Mojo. But I'll take the highest rate shooter, Miles Wood. He gets second team power play run as well, which New Jersey kind of splits their power plays. It's not like 1 and 2. It's more 1A and 1B. And both of them get about even runs. So I would just view it as he gets power play time, and that's all that matters. So I really like him at near min price on both sides. Anyways, moving on to defense. My top option defensively on both sides is going to be John Carlson. Not much else to say. I think he's the most secure option as far as high-priced defenseman goes. He's going to give you the most secure minutes. He's going to give you the most secure role as far as on the power play at 5v5. He is fairly expensive, but there's a lot of value on the slate. I don't think it'll be too tough to fit him in on both sides, so I'll definitely go ahead and try and do that. And then scrolling down a bit on DraftKings, I like the price on Damon Severson at 3.8K. Not a guy that shoots the puck a lot. He's got an iCourse 4 per 60, just above 7, which is really poor. But he does have some offensive upside, and he skates a bunch of minutes. Just skated 26 minutes last game. Has some games last week. I mean, all of last week he was probably averaging 24.5 minutes a game on time on ice. So gives you a high floor at 3.8K. And if you don't want to go with him, I like Cam Fowler at 4K. He's sort of in the same mold. Doesn't shoot the puck too much, although he has a couple of 5-shot on goal games. His iCourse 4 per 60 is just around 9. But he's got a cushy role on the first team power play, a great matchup versus Washington, and he's going to give you 23 minutes time on ice at a cheap price. So if you don't want to pay up at defense, you could go with 2 value Ds like Fowler and Severson and really put yourself in a good position. Moving on to goalie. Goalie's honestly, I won't even talk about goalie on this slate because of how tough it is. Obviously, 3 games being a pick'em, you're gonna have to take a stance on who you think wins, and it's really tough to do that this early in the morning. I think maybe you could go with the Florida goalie since they are technically the second biggest favorite on the slate. You could go with Braden Holtby, although I do think Anaheim could score a couple goals. And maybe even win this game. So it's a tough slate for goalie. So I would just say build your team, see who you're well correlated with, and then play the goalie in correlation with your team so that if your team does well, your goalie does as well. But yeah, with that all being said, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I hope you guys win a ton of money tonight. If you haven't already done so, please do like, comment, and subscribe. By liking and commenting, you will be entered into winning a free season pass of your choice. I will announce the winner of that giveaway in tomorrow's video for NHL. Since there will be no NBA video, I'll announce it tomorrow. So make sure you guys are liking and commenting, and make sure you're subscribed, of course. But yeah, with all that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys win a ton of money tonight, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.